What's up, guys? Matt Richard here, back for another Guitar 101 lesson. This whole series is sort of foundational things that, for me, I found, and this is what happened to me growing up playing, is there was a lot of theory basics and sort of the building blocks that I missed just because I was in the rock, I was in a shred guitar. All I want to do is learn all the shred stuff, and so I was just sort of picking all that stuff out off of records. And I didn't know the names for a lot of the stuff I was doing, and I didn't understand the theory behind it. So I wasn't sort of able to create that stuff on my own. And that's the goal of this whole thing, is to get you being able to see what's behind the stuff that you're really into, so that you can create things that aren't a copy of that. Because just copying other players, I mean, that's fun for learning, new stuff to play. Or if you're in a cover band, you need to learn that stuff. But understanding why it sounds the way it does, to me, is as important or more important than just learning the actual pattern that said guitar player played that you're copying. So let's get into it today. To me, this is where the fun stuff starts. We had some building blocks that we did. We learned our whole half formula for the major scale. We learned how to extract chords out of that stuff. If you're just jumping in, all those previous lessons are on the blog, they're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, they're everywhere, so go check that stuff out if you need to play catch up. But if you're caught up with me and you're ready to jump in, this is the fun stuff, to me anyway. Modes. So, a while back, modes. Let's get into it. I had you memorize, I hope you did it. We took the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and remember we wrote it out, and we did 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, and so forth. And I told you that was very, very important to memorize. This is also important to memorize. If you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the major and minors written on one hand, this goes on the other. Okay? 1 is major or Ionian. Ionian's a fancy word for major, okay? So I'll use them interchangeably. I usually just say major because I don't know why, I just never really said Ionian. But major or Ionian. 2 is Dorian. 3 is Phrygian. 4 is Lydian. 5 is Mixolydian. 6 is minor or Aeolian. I didn't write it, but Aeolian is also the other word for minor. And 7 is Locrian or Locrian, depending on, I guess, where you're from. Those are the names of the modes. Now, what are modes? In a nutshell, to put it as simply as I can without over confusing anybody, if you don't know what modes are, all modes are is taking, we're going to start with a major scale. We're going to stay in C since we've been talking about C this whole time. We used our formula, we created our C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? We got that. We know that's C major. We know C is the root, we play it over, for our purposes now, a C major or C major 7 chord, just like we learned how we built the chords, C, E, G, and B, C major 7, right? So we play the C major scale over a C major chord. That makes perfect sense. When we do that, we get C major, or C Ionian, okay? Believe it or not, that's still a mode. It's the first mode, it's the root, but it's still a mode. What happens if we get crazy and we take a different note in the C major scale, D, for instance, let's just start with the 2. And what if we played D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D? It's still C major, right? And this, I'm gonna harp on this point quite a bit, and I'm gonna take a pause. There's some red down here, and it's the reason I wrote it in red, and I put must-have chords. I'm gonna show you why right now, okay? I got my little cheesy drum machine set up. So, first of all, let me just demo. Let's just take C major, right? We got our C major. Here's our C major chord, and here's our C major scale that we learned. Right? That's C major. Nice and pretty. Great. Well, if we were to just play these notes, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, like while we're practicing guitar, it sounds a little different, but not really, right? There's nothing without the music behind it. This means nothing unless somebody's playing a chord, so to speak. I mean, you can strum these chords and try to practice something like that, but I highly, did I say that enough times? Highly suggest you get either a drum machine that has some backing tracks in it. You can buy this thing that probably cost $1 zillion 20-something years ago that I'm using for my backing tracks. I think it's like $100 on eBay now. It sounds kind of cheesy, but it serves a purpose. There's software all over the place you can get, and band in a box, stuff like that. And as I mentioned before, if you want to be uber resourceful, go to YouTube and just YouTube C major backing track. Boom, it's going to come up. You're going to find probably a ton. They probably all sound better than the one I'm about to use, but this serves our purpose. I like this thing. I have a certain, I guess, nostalgic affinity for it. So let me show you why the chords are important, okay? So as we just demonstrated, C major by itself, just playing the notes, you get it, right? It's C major. So let's go ahead. I've got a C major 7 dialed up in this cheesy groove. Let's just listen to the C major scale over C major 7. C major, C to C, nice and happy. We talked about the birds chirping and all that fun stuff, and rainbows in the morning. That's what that sounds like to me. It's very whimsical. If you're a metal guy, that is not metal. I do not recommend the C major chord or C major 7 with the C major 7 scale in a metal tune. But I did tell you I was going to show you how to turn it upside down, and we're going to get to that very soon. Let's continue on with our example. Let's go to D. Let's have some fun. I'm just going to take my little chord computer here and go to D, and we're going to make it a minor 7 because we know the 2 is minor, right? We talked about that. We went over all that stuff. We said the 2 is minor. The 2 is also Dorian. That's the other thing we learned, right? We just learned that. So we're going to play D Dorian. Now, as I demonstrated with no music, C major 7, or C major scale, with no sound behind it, it's just C major. And so is this, because this is just these same notes. And if you mix them up, it sounds even less like anything. But as soon as we add the magic chord behind the scale, watch what happens, okay? Remember, this is driving the point home here. I'm going to play these notes, and these notes only. All I'm doing is I'm shifting. I'm now going to be landing on a D. That's why I circled it. D is going to be the focus. And I'm going to play a D minor because it's the 2. Remember, D minor 7. We're going to play the 2. So we know the 2 is minor. Play a D minor chord over this cheesy acoustic beat. Let's see what happens. I think something cool is going to happen. That doesn't sound like C major anymore, does it? I don't think so. I think it sounds like a completely different scale. And it kind of is. But it's not a different scale, it's a different mode. We're just taking the notes and we're starting on a different note of our major scale, in this case C major. I just played C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you were to take this and tab it out, I'm not going to because there's nothing to write home about. I'm just playing some simple little melodies here. But it's just these notes. This is it. There's no sharps or flats. There's no crazy exotic scales. I didn't shift anything when we just did this example other than the chord that was underneath, which makes you change your focus. That's why I keep stressing you guys need to get something to play against, because when you're just noodling around and you don't have something pulling you back to home base, there's no music there. You have no idea. I don't know where the key center is either because I'm not thinking about a particular chord. I'm just playing notes. But when we engage the music, got music down, and we've got, Dorian. I call Dorian instant fusion because it really gives you a hip sort of, fusion. You probably noticed there, anybody that, if you guys that are players that do some playing already, I was playing D minor pentatonic. Because of course on the minor, you can play minor pentatonic over a minor 7 chord all day long. But Dorian gives it to me, a more hip fusion sound. Again, I don't know if you've noticed that, but if you paid attention, I just played the C major scale while I was playing D minor pentatonic, and it sounded really cool and hip and fresh, and it was D Dorian. It wasn't C major anymore because we had a D minor 7 chord going on instead of a C major 7. Let's just for argument's sake, let's go back, let's retest the theory. Let's go back to C major. Well, there it is. We're back into happy unicorns and leprechauns. Same notes, same 7 notes. Nothing changed other than what the band was playing behind it. So I don't want to go too long-winded with this because this is sort of a lot to take in if you're new to the modes and you've never done this stuff before. So for now, today's homework, memorize this. Just like we said, if I said 3, you need to be able to throw out minor. If I said 5, you should be able to know dominant, just that fast. Same thing here. If I say 4, you should know Lydian. If I say 2, you should know Dorian. If I say 6, you should know minor or Aeolian. You should know those things like the back of your hand. Once you memorize where these occur, we're going to learn how to utilize that and continue this system on. And that's what now we're going to get into the modes. These future lessons are going to be sort of how we can create all these different, because all of these are like night and day. As different as major was to Dorian, the happy-go-lucky, and you get like this jazzy sound, these all sound different, very different. So you've got 7 sort of moods or colors of music, all just using these 7 notes. To me, when I learned this was like a Christmas present. When I figured it out, and it took me a long time, I had books and videos and all this stuff, VHS tapes back in the day, if you want to age me. It took me a lot of different methods trying to figure out, because there are a lot of ways to explain the modes. So I hope that this makes sense to you guys and gals, anybody that's watching this stuff. And if you have questions, again, message me, comment on the video, YouTube, whatever, the blog, shoot me an email. My email's there. Whatever's easier for you. I'm glad to clear that stuff up. I hope you're getting some value out of these lessons, and I'll be back soon with another one. And until next time, you guys keep rocking. And of course, as always, most of all, have fun with this stuff. Don't make it be miserable, busy work. It's music. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Enjoy it, because to me, there's a lot of fun to be had with these modes once you get it under your, fingers and it clicks, and it will. That's the thing about modes that I discovered is you're going to be mystified by this for a while, and then all of a sudden one day it's going to click, and it's going to be like, oh my God. And you're not going to be able to stop playing around with it and changing chords and making all these awesome sounds with the same freaking 7-note scale. Okay? So, enjoy. See you next time. Matt Richard. I'm out of here. Later.